What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Success Spectrum podcast. I'm your host, Kadeem McLean, sharing stories, insights, and strategies to help you on the pursuit of becoming the next best version of you. Today, we're talking about debt and credit. All right, specifically mastering debt and credit. There's two types of debt. There's actually good debt and bad debt. And of course, they affect you differently. But what is credit? And what is a credit report? So a credit report is, I've heard it described this way, and I've been using it ever since. It's essentially your financial report card. And what it does is it tells the lender or banker or wherever you're going to try to get a loan or some type of financial aid or assistance or loan or whatever it might be. It tells them your credit worthiness. Today, what we're going to dive into is building better habits. There was a few things in there. So the trigger, essentially, or the cue, was for me to, at school, during school hours, that's the trigger. It's school hours, I'm at school. The action or the routine, do my schoolwork, pay attention, ask questions, get the schoolwork done. The reward, I get to enjoy the rest of my night, right? The rest of my day once I leave school. I can go out and play. I can go out and play some sports or play a game, whatever I want to do. Now, how can you build positive habits? One of the things about this, let's talk about first replacing bad habits. I want to go there first. So once you understand the habit loop, you can look at the cue or the trigger in terms of, why am I doing this? Why is this habit or routine? Why am I falling into this and doing this regularly? Well, the trigger is the reason for that. Your brain it's set up in a way to conserve energy. Because again, our lives are run by systems, run by habits. So if you can take control of these habits and understand how to manipulate them to your benefit to get to, your desired destination, if you will, or desired being, then ultimately it's going to help you get there. But if we just stay prisoners to our habits, not realizing what these habits are or how they're affecting us, we're never going to get to where we want to go. Today, what we're talking about is a concept called raising your zero. Essentially what the concept is, it's about raising your standard, right? Your bank account, your savings account right now, let's say, might be at literally the number 0. But the idea behind raise your zero is your new zero is, let's say, $1,000. So when excuses come into mind, wash them out, because you have a certain standard to stick to. You're going to make sure you're drinking that water. You're going to make sure you're hitting the gym 4 days a week. The only way to read a book is to read a book. Open it up and read 1 page a day even. If it's 365 pages in that book and you read 1 page a day, in a year, you'll finish that book. Today, what we're talking about is the cost of convenience. Today's day and age, especially being in North America, I feel like it's the most convenient time that we've ever been in. We've got the internet, we've got cell phones, right? Smartphones more specifically. We got Uber Eats, we got Lyft, we got Amazon subscriptions where you can get your groceries delivered to your front door on whichever frequency you need, once a month, twice a month, whatever the case might be. We are in the most convenient time I think that's ever been up until now. ChatGPT, AI, not to forget to mention those. These are all amazing technologies, amazing products and solutions. But my question is, what's the cost, right? So option 1, forfeit becoming this person, living this lifestyle you say you want to live, so that you can continue to choose convenient. Because if you really want to live this life, it requires inconvenience. So 1, forfeit it, stay on the convenient path. Option 2, choose the inconvenient, because the inconvenience will lead you to a life of having the option to live convenience later on, and you will become this person who you say you want to be, or at least you'll get amazingly close to it. And you will feel fulfilled because you're making those decisions to become that person you say you want to be. You no longer have that stress on your back, that unfulfillment. You will feel fulfilled in the progress, because they say progress version of you. Now, what I really want to talk about today is cheering for yourself, because not enough of us, I feel, cheer ourselves on or are proud of ourselves. The Lion King. I realize in life we are quick to cheer others on. At least what I've seen, most of us are quick to cheer other people on, but not to cheer ourselves on or give ourselves a pat on the back. Simba, at the end of the movie, he takes his rightful place as the king of Pride Rock. right? And he lets out a giant roar. One, you got to realize the enemy exists. Two, you got to overcome that enemy. Today, we are talking about analysis paralysis. You might be like me, where your mind is constantly on the go. Even when you're sitting on a beach, listening to the waves, right? Like in another country, the weather's perfect. You might be suntan, you might be in the water. My mind is constantly going. Successful people make decisions quickly and change them slowly. Unsuccessful people make decisions slowly and change them quickly. I'm sorry to say it, but the only thing we perfected is procrastination, because we sit there in our indecisiveness and we don't make a decision. We're thinking we're doing something right by taking our time with the decision where it doesn't matter if we go A or B, but really we're just wasting time procrastinating. I've heard Eric Thomas say it this way: start where you are with what you have, because what you have is plenty. So again, this indecisiveness, to help us alleviate that stress, to help you alleviate that stress, practice. Again, there's all these little decisions that we make on a daily basis that we can just make them quicker. Make the decision quicker. Don't waste time. Don't waste energy. Don't stress about it. Because the only way you can get better in anything is to practice. You've heard it said this way: practice makes perfect. Today, we are talking about the cash flow quadrants. The cash flow quadrant, there's 4 quadrants. And the first one is an E, where it's an employee. The second one is the self-employed or specialist. At the end of the day, you have the E, you have the S, and then on the right side, you stop trading time for money and you become a business, right? And then the question I'll ask you is, where do you think most of the money in this world is? Employee, self-employed, business, which is the B, right? And then the last one is an I, investor. Now, I ask you, which one do you want to be in? E, S, B, or I? Which one do you want to be in? Because depending on which one you want to be in, that will determine the actions, the effort, and the energy you're going to have to put forward. We have these things, these goals we want to achieve. But at the end of the day, what efforts are we putting forward to get to these goals, to accomplish these things? And today, we're talking about finding your peace. In humans, people, you and I, we're the same, right? We need to take time to rest and restore. If there's 2 versions of you, one of them is operating at 40%. The other version is operating at 100%, but took a little bit of a break, right? Say a 2-week break. Within a very short time span, that version of you that's operating at 100% is going to be able to pass that version that was operating at 40% with no breaks, no questions asked. So take that break, take that time, find that peace, and get yourself back to 100% efficiency. Get yourself that tune-up, because we all need it and we all deserve it. We're talking about that big P word, procrastination. So there's going to be some hard truths potentially, but we're also going to give you some strategies to win this war. We know what we need to do. How much we procrastinate and wait and delay will determine if we ever get to that goal of getting healthier or losing weight or even gaining muscle, right? So some of the downsides. The first one that comes to my mind is stress and anxiety. Another one is missed opportunities, lack of self-esteem, missed opportunities, health issues, lower productivity, poor quality in the work that you do, because you're doing last minute work. You're procrastinating until the last minute. There's strategies you can apply. There's a whole bunch out there. We're going to talk about a few right now. One of them is time management. Now, break it down to the ridiculous. Priority list. That's a big one as well. To get into today's episode, I want to first talk about movie trailers. I'm the type of person who does not like watching movie trailers or trailers for shows. So if I watch this movie trailer, it's going to ruin the movie for me. I'm very good at predicting what happens in movies. I'm not perfect, but I'm pretty darn good at it. I do not like watching movie trailers because it raises my expectations of the movie. I walked into that movie, Transformers 2, with no expectations. I control my expectations. I control my vantage point and therefore my perspective, because I believe perspective is everything. right? They say beauty's in the eye of the beholder. The way you see something is, I'm going to see it differently. I remember reading 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I believe it's Steve Covey. And it talks about that, right? The glass in which you see the world, perspective, it's everything. First of all, control the controllables. What can I do about it? I control the controllables. I don't control other people. I control myself, my preparation, and my reactions. That's what I control. Your goal, your aim should be to control what you can control. Yes, expectations are important in certain areas of life. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're not. Expectations are vital. Walking into a business meeting, right? Certain expectations of a manager, right? Certain expectations of even a parent or a sibling, let's say. Yes, expectations are important for sure. And now, a word from our sponsor. Do you have a child in your life who loves to color? A niece, a nephew, a son, a daughter, a neighbor? Remember when we grew up, we did A for apple, B for banana, and so on? There's something new in town. It's going to change generations financially. It's called Money Magic, ABC. This is a financial coloring book. They get fun pictures to draw, to color in. But instead of A for apple, we got A for asset. We got B for budget. We got C for crowdfunding. This is going to, while they're enjoying themselves, teach them the financial terms that we didn't know growing up. The financial terms that some of us still don't know. Financial literacy is key and vital. And instead of learning A for apple, learning A for asset at such a young age, it's going to change their financial mindset into the future. They'll be able to start off ahead of the ball, right? Ahead of the game. So go ahead and get yourself a copy and give this gift. Give the gift of financial literacy to your children and the children in your life today. Go ahead and click that link in the description and get yourself a copy. Today, we're going to start off by talking about something called time preference. You may have heard of this before, but I believe it was in the 1960s. There was a study done by a psychologist by the name of Walter Mitchell, and the study was called the marshmallow experiment. What they did was they took students, or rather children, they put them into a room and they put one marshmallow in front of each of them. And what they said is, you can go ahead and eat that marshmallow now, or if you wait 15 minutes and you don't eat it, when I come back, I'll give you a second one. Because those who waited for that second marshmallow, they're known as having a lower time preference. They were able to delay their gratification. Those who ate the marshmallow right away and couldn't wait because they wanted to taste that marshmallow, they have a high time preference. My point is, the way things are nowadays, grateful for the technology we have, but the way things are, if we're not conscious and aware, it is actually increasing our desire for instant gratification. Strategies, some tips and tricks to help you lower your time preference, right? And increase your, not desire, I wouldn't say you desire delayed gratification, but increase your patience. And I think the marshmallow strategy, or rather the marshmallow experiment, is a perfect microcosm for this. First of all, what do you want? Another thing you can do is challenge yourself. And another thing you can do is start small. You're trying to work off years potentially of poor eating habits and poor health habits. It's going to take time. Lower that time preference. Be willing to put in the work as you wait for that gratification to come. And today I want to start off with a bit of a story. When I was younger, I used to get up at 4:30 in the morning, do my prayer, brush my teeth, of course, drink my water, go on a walk to the gym, work out, come back home and jot down any ideas that came to me, or read my book, or do both. Because I got myself together in the morning, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And then I was able to deal with the other pressures of the day and the pressures of work. Today's Sunday, so Saturday was a bit of a struggle for me. I said to myself, I woke up, thoughts started coming to me. Well, it's Saturday, you can sleep in. You don't really start, you don't have your first meeting until about 9 a.m. And you can relax. You can go back to sleep. I want to first define a little bit what consistency is, because some of us might just think consistency is repetition. Consistency is something that's going to bring you positive results as long as you stick to it. Now, some strategies for consistency. 1, set clear goals and small milestones. With number 2, our second strategy, which is to automate and set up a system to help us get there. Number 3, automation will help you also to manage distractions. Number 4, because 3 again leads me into 4, which is accountability. If we are not managing distractions, we're not focused on the goal, having an accountability partner will help us to stay focused. And an accountability partner could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be a spouse, it could be your children even, right? It could be somebody you met online. You can go online and there's a bunch of Facebook groups and so on. I'm sure you could find somebody. The focus of this episode is to answer 3 questions, because you might be an entrepreneur, or you might be thinking about going into entrepreneurship, or you're hearing of the buzzword entrepreneurship. What is it? So these 3 questions are: number 1, should everybody be an entrepreneur? Number 2, what is the entrepreneur mindset? And 3, what are some traits of a successful entrepreneur? Entrepreneurship, I'm going to repeat it, is the best personal development program on the planet with the best potential compensation plan attached to it. What do you have to do to adopt this lifestyle? Or what do you have to become to adopt this lifestyle? Number 1 is you have to have courage, right? You have to have calculated courage. You have to be able to make bold decisions, not reckless decisions, but bold decisions based off of data. You also have to be an opportunity alchemist. An opportunity alchemist is somebody that sees, well, the world is seeing chaos, right? You see opportunity. Like the pandemic, for example, there were 4.4 million new businesses created in the US in 2020, right, during the pandemic. Number 3 is self-made accountability. You have to have the highest standard for yourself. You also need to be a long-term player. Don't make decisions just for today, but plan for the future, right? Make decisions that'll help you to have sustainable success. And the last one, relentless adaptability. You have to have a spirit of being relentless. Today, we're going to be talking about certain topics. One of those is budgeting. I know, forgive my language, people see budget as a cuss word, but we're talking about budgeting, saving, investing, because those are 2 different things, and the mindset shift that needs to occur to get you with your, let's say, average income to building wealth. Focus on your net worth, not your income. Your income is important, but net worth. So what is net worth? If you take all of your assets and you subtract your liabilities, that will tell you what your net worth is. Now, just to emphasize, point 1, net worth is something that we should focus on. We're talking about the basics right now. Net worth, not necessarily income. The second thing we got to focus on is growth, right? You got to grow wealth over time. It's not about, again, getting that windfall. Understand that it takes time to build these things. Now, how can people build wealth on a regular income? The first thing that I say we got to look at is our balance sheet or our budget. Our next point, which is to have a budget, to have a strategy, a financial strategy. And the last thing we can do here is set realistic goals. Now, we talked about our budget strategy, which is important, but where are we saving? Where are we investing? Make sure you put your money to work. We work hard for our money. Now, when it comes to investing, again, I talked about a little bit of the risk. There is risk associated with investing. Arguably, you don't necessarily want to invest more than you're willing to lose, is what people will say. There is risk associated with it, but how can we minimize some of that risk? One of the ways is diversification. Diversification means you don't invest into one company. It was like investing in BlackBerry back in the day. If you invested in BlackBerry, at one point you were doing very well. But the idea is to leave your money in there, right, and let it grow for you. If you left it in BlackBerry, unfortunately, you lost a lot of money. But if you invested in BlackBerry, Apple, and Google at the time, you're still up, because Apple and Google have done amazing and they're still doing amazing, even though BlackBerry went down. So that's called diversification. Another way is something called dollar cost averaging. Now, the mindset, we want to make sure we have a long-term mindset, because that'll help us to stay true to the goals and plans we set up in the first place. Discipline, of course, is required, and financial literacy is required. So have a mindset of discipline your mindset, and a mindset of financial literacy, learning, growing, and adapting. And yes, all of this is great. All of this is important. But at the end of the day, that knowledge you're getting, that information, even from this episode, if you do not take action on it, it's pointless. Without a goal, again, that financial map, you need to know 2 points. One is where you want to go. The other is where you currently are. You can know where you want to go that destination on your financial map. But it means absolutely nothing if you don't do your budget and know where you currently are. There's so many different budget strategies we can utilize. Pick the one that is fitting for you. Pick the one that fits you, your lifestyle, and is in alignment, let's say, with who you are and your mindset. I wrote a book for you, and it's called Wings of Abundance, your strategic guide to uplift and empower you to financial overflow. What this book talks about is, one thing I like to talk about is the financial map. There's 2 points on any map. One is where you are, and the next one is where you want to go. This book, this strategic guide, will help you to determine where you are and where you want to go, and will also help you to bridge the gap. We talk about money mindset. We talk about the application of all the information that you know about finances and all the information that's in this book for you. There's resources in the back of the book. There's bonus information in there. We talk about how to overcome debt, how to build wealth, generational wealth. There's so many different strategies in here that you can utilize for yourself to get you to where you want to be financially. So again, if this is something that sounds interesting to you or anybody you know, because it's written in a language that even teenagers could read it, go ahead and click that link in the description and get yourself a copy. And today, we're going to be talking about some tools that you have to help you build your wealth and distribute it correctly in Canada. So those tools are the tax-free savings account, of course, the RSP, and the FHSA, right? First home savings account. The tax-free savings account is an account where you can put your money, right? Let it grow for you, and you can take out that money tax-free. So let's start with the tax-free savings account. What is it really? There's certain limits, right, that you can put in it. However, you can now get that growth on your money tax-free, because a lot of times you'll use a TFSA to save for a shorter long-term goal, right? That's what it can be used for. And let's say it's a long-term goal. You want to purchase a home. You want to do some type of big purchase, whatever the purchase might be. Tips, avoid over-contributing. That's a tip for you when it comes to a TFSA. Avoid over-contributing. Now, the RSP, the purpose of this account is tax-deferred growth and to help you save for retirement. They don't want you to contribute all of your dollars and only use that account, because then you're going to have tax-free everything, right? All your growth, all your investments are tax-free. So, for example, there's the Home Buyers Plan, or HBP for short. And there's another one called the Lifelong Learners Plan, LLP. Now, why are these two plans important? The Home Buyers Plan and the Lifelong Learners Plan inside the RSP? Well, so what happens if you just go to your RSP and you try to withdraw money? Well, you're taxed, right? Right up front, there's something called the withholding tax. So if you withdraw $0 to $5,000, you're going to face a withholding tax of 10%. And lastly, there's the FHSA, right? The First Home Savers Account. So this account it's a tax advantaged account. And of course, the purpose is for your first home. So a quick tip, I'm going to start with a tip on this one, is if you don't open this account, regardless of if you contribute to it or not, you lose the contribution room for this year. So you don't lose the contribution room for 2024. However, when you use that money for a first home, you get to use it tax-free, just like your RSP. But guess what? You don't have to pay it back. However, one of the questions I have to that is, would you rather pay 10% of a seed or 10% of your harvest? So if you open it this year, 2024, you don't contribute anything, and then 2025 goes by and you don't contribute anything, you lost the contribution room for 2024, and then you can only contribute for 2025 and 2026. I'm McLean, and today I really just want to talk to you about the book, Wings of Abundance. Now, this isn't about selling this to you, but this is about letting you know some of the information that's in here so that you know when you do purchase it, some of the information you're going to be getting. We talk about unveiling the hidden truths of financial mastery. And some of them you know already, such as budgeting, right? We also talk about emergency funds and that financial map, which I've mentioned before. You need to know 2 points. One, of course, is that goal. That next point is where you currently are. How do you determine where you are financially? That's what a budget is for. For whatever reason, when in actuality, HP, Amazon, Walmart, Costco, these big corporations, Apple, Google, they do a quarterly, annual financial assessment. Us, individually, we need to do it regularly as well. After the second chapter, really, we talk about mindset. We talk about the importance of your attitude. Chapter 3, we talk about going from debt to victory. Some of those strategies I shared with that individual are literally in this book for you. Step 4, turning theory into triumph. Knowledge is power. And more recently, we've been hearing the truth, which is knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. And I would add to that, applied knowledge with consistency and a defined goal is power. Number 5, we talk about evil money. We need to make a certain amount of money to be able to provide a roof over our heads, get food, get to certain destinations, drive a car, have a cell phone, internet, and so on. We need to make a certain amount of money to be able to do these things in terms of that mindset, if money really is evil. And that just means those who have more money are more evil. In chapter 6, we talk about generational wealth. Chapter 7, we talk about mastering your money moves. Again, the most important piece here is take action and be consistent so that you can master your money move. There's a bonus section. And in this bonus section, some of the things we talk about are your USP. We talk about entrepreneurship, USP being your unique selling proposition, the gifts that you have, the things that you love to do and you do so well that 1, you might not even realize it, and 2, you do it so well and so easily, but other people might find it difficult to do. I just want to share a conversation with you. I guess a few conversations, because recently I've noticed it's happening more and more where I'm having conversations with people. They may or may not be in the best place, right, mentally. I find myself constantly reminding people all we can do is control the controllables, making sure we don't stress on the things we cannot change, but focus on the things we can and do what we can to alter those things for our betterment and the betterment of the lives of those around us. There's no going back to alter the decisions you've previously made, you being the next best version of you. There's a lot of things that, again, I would, if I went back and had a do-over, I may have done them differently, for sure. And again, like my shirt says, it's okay not to be okay, but what are you gonna do about it? That's how I view it. You can feel all the emotions you wanna feel. That's fine. Go to therapy if you need to, whatever the case is. I've heard of a great platform called BetterHelp, and I'm not sponsored by them, but I've heard of a great platform called BetterHelp. Anxiety is a focus on the future. Depression comes from living in the past and dwelling on it and sitting there. Yours and mine alike. We're human. Everybody has a story to tell. I picked up this sweater from somebody. I went into the grocery store. I saw this sweater, and the back of it, by the way, it says, if I'm not mistaken, it says, the world is a better place with you in it, right? It says, hey, person behind me reading this, the world is a better place with you in it. First of all, I want to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. For anybody joining us for the first time, we cover 3 things on this podcast. We cover personal development, finance, and entrepreneurship. And what we're talking about today are 3 gifts that you can give yourself in these areas, right? Finance, personal development, and entrepreneurship that'll help you to walk into the new year as a bit of a different version than yourself, than you are now. So that first gift we're going to talk about is a growth journal. And what the growth journal does is it helps you to track progress, reflect, and cultivate a mindset of gratitude. So January 25th, for example, it'll start from 8 a.m. and go till 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. And I can put in the tasks there daily to say, did I accomplish this? Did I achieve this? Or what time in the day did I get these habits done and completed? And so on. So I can track day by day, week by week, and for the whole month. It's pretty much a habit tracker, right? You can also have a habit tracker in your growth journal. A vision board. And I know some of you don't want to hear it. I'm not an extremely visual person myself, but you could also write it down. Just write it on a notepad, right? You could write it on a note in your phone or type it out on your computer. You don't necessarily have to do a vision board, right? I know some people are going to say, no, you have to. Whatever is best for you. The reason why is, again, there's many studies out there, but this was a study done by TD Bank, actually. It's a big bank over here in Canada. And they say 82% of small business owners, 82% of small business owners who used a vision board reported accomplishing more than half of their goals. Quite a few times on many different episodes. And you will continue to hear me say it. But a financial health check, right? A financial health check, a budget. Yes, I said the B word again. I know. Excuse my language. Plan for financial elevation in this coming year. If you made $1 million this year, but you spent $1 million, How much do you have left? Goose egg. You got nothing left. You're in a better situation than that person making $1 million but spending $1 million. If you make $50,000 a year and you save $10,000 or $15,000, you are in a better situation than that person making $1 million but spending $1 million. How much you keep is just as, if not more important than how much you make. Because I know it's the holiday season and I know we kind of just want to relax for weeks at a time and kick up our feet from all the hard work that we did throughout the year. So again, this will help you walk into the 2025 as a new version of you, as a better version of you with a little more confidence and belief, which I think we could all use a little more confidence and belief. At least personally, I know I can. So I'm sure a lot of you listening can as well. All right. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and I'll see you in the new year.